Sights towards Lijiang Tower, our first battleground in this series. And again, one in which Twisted Minds need to pick up this time around. Yes, it is a first of three series, functionally a best of five. But Twisted Minds want to make sure they don't have to win on Sign Esports map pick.
Yes.
Winning this control map is what enables that.
Yeah, huge map here. So we see the bands at the top. Twisted Minds, they get rid of the BAP. So going to force us into some like Lucio Kiri or Lucio Juno compositions. And then Sign gets rid of the Cassidy. Cassidy, a very good hero traditionally for courts.
Here we go, folks, out of the gates. Twisted Minds in orange now, very quickly making their way towards his left side of the midpoint. Painkiller's going to be on the remarcher here, no surprises. Rocket on that venture. A hero that we know really puts pressure down on UB Symmetra. Keep an eye out for those interactions. Rocket will be beelining for that squishier front line that Twisted Minds have brought into this game. And it's simple, striking first. Luke Mino down in the Kiriko matchup, and Quartz is able to avoid reprisal from Painkiller.
Well, UB also wants to be quite aggressive, generally on the sim. An opportunity for Rocket to potentially blow him up, get him out of the fights on Venture. And the first one, though, some damage put down by Quartz and Simple, forces some players towards the outside, and then Simple opens things up.
Well, the crowd definitely have something to chew on here in the opening moments of Lijiang. Painkiller now just ambling forward, fully aware that Twisted Minds will try and take that higher ground on the right and likely have it covered with Symmetra turrets, so it's not really an attractive option. Well, you get what you pay for, essentially. But Astro's found Rocket. Another great opener for Twisted Minds here. KSA is getting all the support that he needs out there on the point. There's a Kitsune Rush that's ready, but is not necessary in this fight. Funny Astro, one of the most prolific environmental killers we've seen in Overwatch, finds 3 kills out on the fringes of the map.
Astro with 3 there. Lucamino still kind of lingering around. It's like a little bit of a 1v1 against him and Simple out there. As Simple will back out. Is above 50% now on the point for TM. We'll see if they want to get aggressive behind this rush, which they do.
Yeah, we see the Vortex thrown in straight away. Chronic got caught out there. He might have tried to fall to the left. It's actually Rocket on the off angle, was separated by the quick push up by KSA, but can use the burrow to get close back to the rest of his team, but he might not get entirely to safety. He does manage to escape, but Painkiller really had to work to make that space for him, and now the Sound Barrier comes out from Twisted Minds. They are looking to shut the door in Sign's face. A Kitsune Rush here for the American squad, and Lep is holding on to the beat. A headshot there for Chronic. Will fell Simple and give Sign a way into the map.
Winning it without using the beat is quite clutch, as it looked like there for a second, right? It was going to be the beat from Funny Astro when Lucamino drops the Kitsune Rush, and then an answer with a beat, a little bit of a lighter beat from Lep, and they actually get the kill on the UB early, so they decide to save it. And that could be huge for this next fight coming up.
Quartz absolutely dialed in. Big TP, big reposition. Chronic could be in a bit of trouble here. Looks like Twisted Minds have been able to outmaneuver for the time being. There it is, Chronic down. Quartz finds his mark, and frankly, Rocket doesn't really know where to put himself. It's 3 for Quartz. The overclock accounts for 2. And there's nothing left of Sign Esports. Twisted Minds poised to take this round.
And you would have thought that would have been when the sound barrier would come down, right? When the overclock is rolling from Quartz, and we never see it come down here from Lep. He's going to use it now, only connects with 2.
Little too little, little too late. Maybe Rocket had already fallen by the wayside. And now it's just the dregs of Sign Esports dragged out to represent their team on the point. And it's going to be a struggle. Painkiller on the Doomfist eventually. That power block is going to be broken through, and Lep is limping away from the fight itself. Over the top there, Chronic hoping to get something spun up, but Quartz will clip his wings. And now it is overtime, continuing to tick. Painkiller needs to find a way in, but Simple has the orange brick road. The Kitsune Rush comes out from Twisted Minds, and it's a clean sheet, mostly in this last fight. Left draws blood, but it's not nearly enough to draw any concern. Twisted Minds get the start exactly they were looking for.
And it also may be a little bit where the last time these two teams played, maybe they overlooked them just a little bit. You know, you can always look. You can always make the argument first to 2. We'll get them. I know in that first to 3 series is a little longer, but it also is probably like, hey, maybe we were overlooking these guys a little bit. And Sign Esports came with a little bit of something extra to play for.
I mean, I heard from them. I was in the elevator with them this morning. They felt like the series.
You've been chatting with everybody.
Yeah, I've been hanging out. they've been getting around here. It's great, obviously, a chance to meet the players, but they felt like that game got ahead of them. They were also still teasing KSA about not touching the point in a practice scrim, so that's how serious they've been. Psycho was not joking. He was like, don't do that. the guy is not messing around.
No, I saw Astro the other day, and they were, this is before their match getting signed, but they were in great spirits. Felt like they had a great opportunity here at this event, and it felt like, you know, at least in my opinion, the meta was kind of breaking in a way that they would love to play.
I feel like it still is, especially in a matchup against Sign, right, who just want to play the Ramatra style. Yes, UB, first blood drawn for the Symmetra. And Quartz is starting to really heat up. Sign Esports now obviously in disarray. Chronic would like a quick exit. KSA drags him down to earth with that Vortex over the edge.
Another fast fight win here from Twisted Minds. Look at this, they want to go fast, right? UB gets a TP here into the spawn of Sign Esports. Sign may have awoken a beast here with Twisted Minds as they have looked as dominant as can be early on here in Lijiang Tower.
And they're keeping Sign off kilter.
Yeah.
Right, find those couple of picks, stagger.
Like the change of pace, right? Like the TPs and, you know, ending up in spots you don't really expect.
And Rocket's been searching for ways to sort of start these fights gainfully. He knows his objective is to disrupt UB as much as possible. But he probably feels like the rest of his team aren't there where he needs them. Good little redirect there. That was a good heads-up play for Funny Astro to knock him sideways somewhat, and Painkiller just can't hang out. If UB survives late into these fights, if Sign cannot get a first pick on the sim at least, they're cooks, man. Literally and figuratively.
I mean, that is the Kitsune rush from both sides, but because they're not able to get rid of UB, he just starts mowing players down on the sim. That's the thing with sim. Last cannon here, right? But as the damage starts to ramp, good luck. Look at the huge advantage in sound barrier as well, by the way.
They are so far ahead. Yeah, especially when the focus is on KSA instead of UB.
Already with almost 70% on the point as well.
So low. He is so bloody low. Rocket has a tectonic shock. He's going to pop it in, but how's he supposed to make use of it? Not with a sim wall in play. Oh, that ultimate kind of goes for nothing, Matt.
You might not get a sound barrier here from Sign Esports.
Rocket looking to pop up. It's been a tough day at the office for Lep thus far. More to play, sure. Here it is, though. Quartz with another overclock. The ball shot mostly shrugged off. Chronic not able to strike at Twisted Minds adequately. And this has been a very, very one-sided round.
As one-sided as it can be is Rocket's going to go over to the Tracer. He's going to be the one that's going to be relied on to get a touch. A little bit of a late spawn here for Painkiller as got the annihilation to work with. Lap onto the high ground. Maybe looking for an environmental.
That beat ain't happening, Matt. 73% for Lep. Hasn't been able to get a sound barrier online. Painkiller tries to come forward with the annihilation. Throws that Vortex at longer range. And there's Lukemino finally getting something going. Manufacturing a little bit of an edge here, but UB quickly snaps back. It's Chronic out of the picture. UB had to give up his life, though, to find that pick. Painkiller is on the right side of the door here. Sat on the point. Even a Kitsune rush committed by Simple.
Yep. I'm confused why, because KSA had already dropped. He has the annihilation, but there was no way he's just solo on the point if he was going to use it.
Painkiller's in trouble. He's low. I don't think Lukemino's here to top him up right now. He gets forced off the point. This is an opening, an opportunity for Twisted Minds now. KSA will be back with them momentarily, and Painkiller at least is trying to signal some strength. Lukemino on Simple is a very important pickup, though. A Rocket getting off the venture, finding success on the Tracer finally.
Twisted Minds poses enough of a threat there, though, where Lep decides to end up using that sound barrier. So Funny Astro will end up with a big advantage here. Sound barrier plus annihilation going into this Kitsune rush. So Twisted Minds still in a pretty good position to take the round.
Group parts here towards the high ground. Sim TP to let them cross the gap here now to fight out in the open. Lukemino's in deep trouble. Okay, he's having a swift step away. Painkiller now, the subject of scrutiny. Suzu had to be used there by Simple, but it buys enough time for Funny Astro to get that sound barrier down. Now on the point, Painkiller surrounded on all sides, beleaguered and eventually succumbs. Now eyes over towards the Tracer, a hasty recall for Rocket, but he's chased to the ends of the earth, and Quartz makes sure he secures the kill. Overtime is done, and Twisted Minds delights the home crowd. Flipping the script on the last time these teams faced a decisive win on Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, and they had discussed how important it would be to win control, and they are able to do it here early on with the crowd going crazy. Hey, wait, will you take a bathroom break here? I mean, if you're not here, you're missing out. Because, like, in the street, they were chanting for Twisted Minds. I mean, it was getting rowdy out there.
It was like a large group of people just chanting, going back and forth down the boulevard. We also were alerting people that Twisted Minds were about to play. And so, Twisted Minds now kind of know from this point onwards, all they need to do is to sort of win the maps that they themselves choose in the event that they lose, which is not guaranteed. And here it is, we'll leave you some highlights from Twisted Minds. Quartz leading from the front, some brutal hit scan play from him. Great stuff from TM. We'll be back after this. Talk about flipping the script. Twisted Minds have done that and some in the first map of this best of 5 decider in Group B. Strong showing in Lijiang Tower, instantly signed Esports. The knee-jerk reaction is to take us to Artless, and well, they were dominant against Twisted Minds last time they played this map, but it's also because it came with the package deal of the sim ban, and they've gone for it yet again. It's kind of their trump card in this matchup because they don't like to play it themselves, but they've used it pretty early in this series.
I think it definitely tells you how important they view this map. You're kind of, you don't want to say all in on the map, but getting rid of the sim, going to this map, one that you had already won, right? After that, you know, you lose something like this. In terms of like bans, like you can maybe bother them by like getting rid of the funny Astro Lucio. But we've actually seen him play a decent amount of Juno in EMEA, so wouldn't be an end-all be-all. That is a huge frog.
Well, perspective is everything, Matt. We're kind of zoomed in. Also, you should check the cane toads down there in Queensland, mate. Hey, dwarf, this guy. He's cute by comparison.
So Twisted Minds looks like me. I don't think this will be the comp they run out on. I think Sign Esports, though, this could potentially be it. See if Lucamino decides to stay on the Moira or potentially a swap. So a Moira look here from Sign. So we've talked a little bit about Moira and kind of her spot with some of these comps. I think I would prefer it if you played like a Reaper, like almost like a throwback to the zombie comp.
All about like, winning that, like getting a burst target like instantly, right?
Yeah. And Twisted Minds comes out, so they'll have a Cassidy here with May. So that'll be the answer here for UB. UB can also play Tracer, but over the last few months or so, they've been bringing in Psycho to do that.
I think that Twisted Minds composition is pretty well designed to like elongate the fight. Kind of the opposite actually of what the Moira comp wants. You've got the main, the ice block. You've also got Baptiste with that immortality field, right? All about making it hard for Sign to get in there quickly. And once Lucamino's resources are depleted, the healing throughput is pretty underwhelming from Sign. So in a dragged out engagement, they find themselves at a disadvantage.
It's also pretty hard for Rocket to play around this, right? Baptiste, Lucio, May, and Cassidy, really difficult to kind of like be aggressive on the flanks, how we know Rocket can be.
The worry that this is another map where Rocket finds it pretty hard to get in on these flanks. We saw the venture on Lijiang Tower. He also struggled to manufacture any momentum. Quartz has been hitting those shots. He shot in that last fight, 2 to 3 eliminations to his name there. Chronic has to back out. He's playing in a pretty risky little off angle here, and there it is. Quartz strikes yet again. Lep.
Dude, this time is down. They're finding Lep so often. You think back to Lijiang Tower, and then now here, I mean, 70%, you got like a 30% beat advantage here for Astro. Off the rip, you're not exactly super worried about like Coalescence, right? If you're Twisted Minds, I mean, you have speed, you can kite it, you can run away. Lep has to do a little bit of a better job keeping himself upright.
I want to reiterate, Sign Esports were 3-0 in a sweep of Flashpoints last time these teams played. Twisted Minds are looking like a different beast here. Blizzard just around the corner. That's going to be a problem for Painkiller if he's hoping to go deep with an Annihilation. He'll be stopped in his tracks. Quartz getting some happy little dinks across the map, and Painkiller has no choice but to throw up the guard. Has to back away. Here's a Blizzard, and he went for an Annihilation. He was inside a Blizzard and still chose to pop that ultimate. Interesting decision, but Quartz gets the Deadeye kill. Sign Esports commit 3 ultimates in the space of a couple of seconds, and Quartz has 0 respect. He is out of pocket.
Yeah, and maybe it's because Painkiller's going to swap. I mean, he had the Coalescence kind of hosing him down there when he was using the Annihilation, but that is not going to let you survive the Blizzard plus Deadeye combo. So a change here for Sign Esports. 2 changes, actually. So Lucamino will move over to the Baptiste, and then you also have Orisa in play now. So Orisa obviously not as impacted by the May as, let's say, Ramacha.
So now that Sign can play a longer fight and still stand on even footing, this means that Chronic has more time to find either big chunks of damage that Rocket could follow up on, or just some straight-up railgun headshots to put his team straight up front in numbers, and there it is. Speak the devil's name, and he doth appear. Chronic showing us why his Sojourner and Hitscan in general is still to be feared. Big opening here, and Lep is going to double down with a sound barrier now as Simple goes for an Amp Matrix. Chronic still wants to play it safe here. He knows it's only a matter of time before eyes start turning in his direction, but he's up to 2 eliminations for this fight, and KSA can't afford to pay him any heed.
Yes, we see both tanks traded out. Yubi's still here, though. 4 TM, so gonna be like contestants for a while. Oh, nice timing on the pulse bomb there from Rocket. Gets him right as he's popping out of the ice block.
Twisted Mind still, for a moment, seemed like they wanted to stall, but now they have to back away lest they get staggered further. Luckily for them, Sign Esports happy just to settle for an early point cap here in our second Flashpoint.
Well, I think if Yubi would have lived, right, you would have had Blizzard, you would have had KSA coming back off of spawn, probably a little bit closer to beat. Maybe you would actually continue to fight that.
Quartz here hoping to use the bulk of KSA to prevent most of that damage coming in, but there is some backstab potential. Rocket and Chronic both there, and Quartz is going hunting. He's like, oh mate, I'm going to keep my sights trained on you guys. But Mino's Immortality Field has had to succumb, but the Blizzard is in play, and it freezes Painkiller solid.
And they just run them down behind Funny Astro with the sound barrier, right? Ant Matrix dropped there by Lucamino. Twisted Minds decides not to back out. They're going to use that sound barrier, push directly past the Ant Matrix, so you don't really get much value for it at all. Sign Esports, you'll have a Terror Surge, and Chronic with the Overclock. Overclock with no beat on the other side, maybe an opportunity to chunk down a player or two.
Annihilation of a KSA, so he might have to use it. He might just have to pump those shots into the enemy Ramatra if KSA looks to take some space. But bear in mind, KSA can create a lot of room for Quartz to get a sneaky Deadeye in behind. The Chronic's looking for a pick here, and Simple's a pretty damn good one to find. Theoretically, that should signal the end of the fight if Rocket hadn't already clapped Funny Astro. So for Twisted Minds now, it's about the stall, it's about holding on to the rest of their ultimates here. Building up to break through and take the Flashpoint in the next engagement.
Yeah, you'd be trying to throw that May wall up and then getting behind it and just kind of cycle an ice block, but they get him out of that position. So I was talking a little bit about it, like Chronic using that overclock. He actually kind of sees both Quartz and Simple playing up a little bit on the high ground, pops it and then able to deal with Simple, who had an Ant Matrix, potentially could have used it up on that high ground.
Chronic doing so much more in this comp as opposed to the one they started with. Immortality Field going down, that's going to help Quartz, who gets caught in the side of Terror Surge, but he didn't have a chance to escape. Luke Mino picked up by Yubi though, and Rocket ult onto this pulse bomb. That is a Flashpoint flip back for Twisted Minds now. Sign Esports in no position to contest. They're going to hold out for one last push. The Simple switches over to the Juno. KSA thinks he might have caught Chronic here, and it might just be right. The Sojourn's out of the game and out of this last fight, but it's a cheeky little flip here from Sign. Twisted Minds get back in the nick of time and are ready to flip it back in their favor and to take it away. Annihilation, Blizzard, Deadeye, all waiting for deployment here. Painkiller looking a little bit worse aware on the fringes of the fights, and the sound barrier is going to be committed for Sign Esports. This will buy him some time to get the healing in. Simple's Immortality Field protects Quartz from that pulse bomb, and now Javelin spin in the face of Quartz. He doesn't seem to mind. The Annihilation from KSA goes utterly uncontested, and Quartz is knocking heads together. Melee kill on Chronic. Luke Mino, his lifeless body touches to the ground. Twisted Minds rack up another Flashpoint.
You'd never have known that Sign ended up using an Ant Matrix and sound barrier in that fight and come up with nothing. The Annihilation plus Blizzard, Deadeye on the point. A lot of survivability and nice use of the Immortality Field by Simple. Keeps Quartz alive through Rocket's Pulse Bomb, putting Twisted Minds one Flashpoint away from taking the map.
KSA looking to try and match the movements of Painkiller. An Orisa switch up for Sign definitely gave Chronic some options, some openings, but it's still been tough going against this front line of TF. Chronic with another overclock here is going to tease out a sound barrier, but Quartz is too sharp to miss. Finds Rocket, likely with a grenade involved in that kill. This Cassidy has been an issue for Sign Esports, and there isn't a natural answer to it outside of Chronic, who just doesn't seem to get the matchups he's looking for. Quartz is audacious there in that fight. Chronic gets his, but then bows out.
Yes.
Look at Yubi, man. He is yapping.
Oh, well, I mean, look, you're the home, town team. You're the crowd favorite. Somebody beats you in the arena, then kind of celebrates. I mean, that's got to leave a little bit of a nasty taste in your mouth, where if you get a chance at revenge, you don't just want to beat Sign Esports. Like, you kind of want to, embarrass them a little bit here.
Well, they're off to a great start on that metric.
They're currently accomplishing that.
So 52% now. Lukmino has an Amp Matrix, but I wouldn't say it's the most compelling ultimates on the horizon here for Sign Esports. Lukmino responds, Immortality Field goes in, Amp Matrix thrown up, and the damage is good. Simple falls. Lukmino's here positioned out on the point to try and get a contest going. And Chronic's done his job. Painkiller gives up his life, but creates so many openings.
I mean, that is an I know the crowd doesn't love it, but that is an awesome use of the Immortality Field from Lukmino. Like, throws it across the point while also getting pressure down and drops the Amp Matrix and picks up one right in his face. I mean, that is a huge play there from Lukmino.
It looks tricky, and it is, but it follows the same trajectory as an Ana Biotic Grenade. So if you're used to playing Ana and you switch over, it behaves in much the same way. So that muscle memory matters if you switch over to the Baptiste. Annihilation here for KSA. 73% posted already for Twisted Minds. It's a good start, but losing Funny Astra here is not really where they want to be, but pressure on Painkiller. Getting rid of a main tank definitely feels like the door might be open here for Twisted Minds, and they're going to go for it. Rocket dealt with, and Quartz will control this space with a Deadeye. This should allow for the most part of a flip, and Lukmino picked off. That's extra value. You can't always bank on it. Now Twisted Minds can surge ahead, and they're sitting back on a Blizzard. And they might even chase Lep down. It has been a tough day for Lep, and Quartz is a mistake of execution.
He barely makes it out with his life. Sign Esports, they'll get a chance to touch. It'll be Rocket there. They're going to have Lep here too.
Rocket playing towards the edge of the map, around the health pack. He knows he's going to need help. The Blizzard's a problem. Lukmino is caught inside of it. Caught out in the open. Painkiller is, and Yubi from behind sends him back with a couple of well-placed ice spikes. There's nothing left to work with here for Sign Esports, and Rocket valiantly trying to keep them in the game. He'll be iced out, and Twisted Minds take their second map on the trot. Extended fist for Yubi. He knows he's done his part as a leader.
Not just a second map, but a 3-0 there on Atlas. As this feels like the Twisted Minds we thought would show up,
so
right?
He said to Psycho, he's like, no, brother, you're not subbing in.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay right here.
And you saw quickly, we saw Sign Esports. A much different look on those players' faces than a little bit earlier in the event, right? They were happy, they were loose, they were kind of sending some action back to the crowd. And now it is like, we are in a lot of trouble here. Because that's their Simban, right? Simban gone. You look through the rest of the map pool. I think you could potentially ban the Sojourn. That would be something I'm interested in seeing them doing.
Yeah, what can Chronic do outside of that? The Cassidy ban, the Sim ban, no longer available to Sign Esports, and there's their last chance in the next map just around the corner. Twisted Minds poised to advance to our playoffs. Stick around and see how it all unfolds.
This land is calling.
Here at the STC Esports Arena for the Overwatch Mid-Season Championship, it has been a nightmare for Sign Esports. Perhaps that 0-3 to T1 maybe cracked their confidence a little bit because Twisted Minds came into this game determined with resolve, and they have spanked them in 2 back-to-back maps.
I think it's just a little bit more real for Twisted Minds now, right? What is at stake? Now, like, they don't want to be done now.
They can't be done now.
No. I mean, you got the crowd. I mean, they're in the venue. They're on the boulevard. It's, potentially Sign Esports' last map here at the Esports World Cup. And, it will be them taking us to Shambali Monastery. So they get rid of. So okay. So this isn't. And so they banned Freya. No, actually, it'll be
a response here to the Baptiste ban.
Yep. But like the Freya is not like Quartz doesn't particularly play the Freya, right? So it's a hero that we don't see him on often. So actually, it seems like that was potentially flipped, right? So Twisted Minds, they get rid of the Freya there second. It would actually be Sign at
That would make
Esports
sense.
with the bat. That makes sense,
Take
right?
Simple off the Baptiste.
Yes. Take Simple off the Baptiste, but it also forces Chronic not to be able to play that extremely long range with the Freya that Twisted Minds would not answer, right? Quartz seems to have been one of the players who doesn't really love playing Freya.
Well, Twisted Minds also, because of their reliance on the Symmetra, played less of that Tracer style as well. So Simple's Kiriko is very good, but he doesn't play it in that side fight style that we see some teams go for, that Sign might also look to make happen. Simple is also deadly on this Kiriko. Yes. I would say like one of the best like rookies coming into EMEA, maybe even any region this year. The guy is absolutely cracked.
It is a shame we don't have Ilios in the pool because his Zen on Ilios goes hard.
Sometimes out of the gate she gets set on the attack side here, but that's been a thing of the past. Quartz though will have a peek on the Widow. Oh, bated breath. Is there anything to be found? Quick peek. And very quickly I think Chronic got off that sideline. He knew what was coming. Hairs on the back of his neck stood up.
It'll be Cassidy here for Quartz. So not even really going to the Sojourn here. Wants to play a little bit more with the team, right? Around these TPs, get into the mix.
Wasting no time, Twisted Minds went ahead upstairs, and Rocket has already been plucked away. Quartz just seemed to find him within the writhing mass of Sign Esports players. Deals him a death blow. And look, Amino found Quartz a little bit staggered out from the rest of his team. We had to bring him down, and Sign have done well to recover here. Playing to that low ground, happy to give that space up, and look, Amino had left. Getting bloodthirsty with it.
You wouldn't know it, right? Because it's been a very one-sided series, but I feel like for Sign Esports, I think Luke Amino has had a pretty good tournament overall and a pretty good series thus far. In a losing effort. He's almost already got his rush.
This kind of disarray really favors Twisted Minds. They have the spawn advantage. Trading kills is fine for them. Now as they round this corner, we're going to start seeing Chronic move towards the outside. Maybe try and take some more of this off-angle action if he can get across. But with how fast the cart's moving, he may feel like it's a bit uncomfortable to do so right now. Here's a Kitsune rush though. KSA in the midst of it. Literally in the eye of the storm, except in this case, it's the most dangerous place to be, as he's found out the hard way.
They had their own rush, but I think they just decided to save it. You see everybody just back out. I think they decided, like, look, this is not going to be a winning effort with how much damage KSA had already taken at the time. Let's back out. Yubi can, like, TP us across, right? You could TP across, like, up into, like, the window there. Yep. And they're going to come from the other side.
Oh, Chronic, it's awkward, isn't it? He's not ready for this. And out of nowhere, Twisted Minds explode toward the backline of Sign Esports. And now this has really thrown their positioning for a loop. Quartz there, hit a headshot.
Three players
followed up. They're in trouble. Yeah, left goes for a beat there. He commits that ability. And maybe he feels like it's his last chance before this checkpoint, but in shame, he throws himself over the edge.
Yeah, maybe you thought you were going to have like a, maybe you thought Lucamino was going to live, right? You were going to get at least like a 4-player beat, but he falls. You had already lost Chronic, and that is the first checkpoint there. So we'll see now.
That's the T.
On the flank, yeah.
That's the T. By the way, out here, it's fantastic. Cardamom spiced.
Oh, yeah.
Phenomenal. Okay, here's the Annihilation Painkiller, holding on to his diligently, but he's going to have to go for it here. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, they say, but it's been all lost so far for Sign Esports as Rocket was already knocked out of the fight, and Painkiller, even with his ultimate, barely puts a scratch on Twisted Minds.
All right, I was going to say, it feels like Sign Esports, we got to try something a little bit different here. Is you're going to have Rocket go to Venture, so see if you can disrupt Yubi on the sim here. With the Ventures. You see the Burrow just going up here, just maybe threatening players to
It didn't work on Lijiang Tower,
Painkiller's taking so much damage. That's Nemesis for him block right away.
Yeah, he has a shield in front of him as well. It's damage that's coming in from an off angle. Oh, Rocket! Face full of flash. Nowhere to go.
TM trying to get out of here quick as Chronic under some pressure here. I mean, see, that's going to be the Suzu already. It's going to be Quartz actually using the Deadeye here. The Kitsune rush from both sides. Painkiller's going to fall.
Painkiller down, and I've got bad news for Sign Esports fans. It's not just Chronic, it's Terminal! Quartz runs it down! And it's just one after another. Another day at Derange for Quartz. And that's 2 checkpoints and change with Twisted Minds to the tune of over 4 minutes.
Yeah, no way you're going to keep Painkiller alive in that position. Inside the Kitsune rush, you have the Deadeye coming from an off angle. He can't really turn either. Just seems like everything that could go wrong for Sign Esports is currently going wrong. Twisted Minds with a chance to set a fantastic time.
They have not turned up to play today, Sign Esports rather. Here physically, but in spirit. Feels like they're just husks out there.
This beat from Lep's got to be good.
Oh, we need it now. UB wants to come forward. TP was thrown out there to signal a potential switch to the right side, but in fact, no, the fight's here, up close and personal. Lep gets us 5-player beat, that's what he's looking for. Funny Astra had one of his own that when Quartz is going to Deadeye, might look to reposition for. Here it comes in, instantly fires it off, and Chronic is flattened. Didn't have an opportunity to respond there whatsoever. Painkiller at least gets his, but it's going to take more than that to slow Twisted Minds down, as they've got a taste for it. The blood in the water as Sign Esports give and give and give ground and can't seem to take any of their own. Twisted Minds are still sitting on the Kitsune rush, the Annihilation, the Sim Wall, an embarrassment of riches, and they're about to dump it on the NA squad's heads.
Yeah, they save it here for the home stretch. It'll be Tonic Shock here for Rocket, just trying to keep this contested. It'll be the Sim Wall that comes in from Yubi.
Rocket pops up and in a safe place. He knows he's in no position to engage right now. Here's that Annihilation, but Lep is already off the board and Painkiller's about to be toppled. Yubi has got the damage and ramp to deal with the Ramatra. Now, a desperate burrow from Rocket, but he knows he better hide his face away because Sign Esports just got wiped from the map.
These fans are gonna go wild when they see that Sign Esports key get crushed, as it feels like that is where we are headed. I mean,
I am sorry.
Could it happen any faster?
Little vintage fan, the hammer. Is this a Quartz fan cam?
The ability for them to keep him alive, like in these types of situations, it also just shows, I mean, how sturdy Cassidy is as a hero.
But not even that. These are genuinely hostile conditions for Cassidy to play in. Yep. You are outranged by the Sojourn, and you are really threatened by the Venture, who can cross right in front of you without being targetable.
Yeah.
And still, Quartz not only finds success, he absolutely drags Sign through the town square at the back of his chariot.
And it feels, you know, we talked a little bit about it in the pregame, just feels like a little bit, maybe a little bit personal with how Sign Esports won that game the other day, a little celebration going on. This would be one for Twisted Minds, like if I was over there. As soon as this game ended, I'm getting up and I'm going to go, give a high five on the other side, a handshake, but you want to make sure you're right there as soon as this game is over.
I knew they'd be typecast as villains coming out to Riyadh. They've played into it. They've been happy to lap up the attention, negative or positive.
that they need a monster half, though, here, Mitch, on offense. I mean, 2:30 in the time bank. This is a lot like the game with Falcons and Weibo we saw the other day.
It's a hard map to complete at the best of times. That's what makes this that much more extraordinary.
Hard map to complete. Plus a hard map to finish with like a substantial amount of time. The Doomfist here for Painkiller off the rip.
Chronic is insisting on the Widowmaker a little bit longer than we otherwise see. Where there's a TP in Chronic's direction. Oh my goodness, TP. That is audacious. But safe because he can reposition back to the rest of his team. Doomfist goes sailing past, but Chronic has stuck to the Widow and now is starting to pay dividends. UB eventually finally falls. KSA will be dragged off his highest horse now. And Cyan Esports are on the road. Chronic still on the Widow plan.
Yeah, we'll see if he, it looks like he's going to continue with it, and potentially we're also going to see the continuation here of the Doomfist. So Doom used at the start there was kind of like constantly punching KSA, getting him out of position. As we're going to see KSA go to D.Va here. So that potentially kind of their answer here towards that Doomfist.
Oh, it's powerful against the Widow, but it wasn't needed apparently because Simple just, gives Chronic the exact wrong kind of acupuncture.
Him across the map.
Yes, the eyes and brain are not acupuncture targets.
Yeah, and you see the defense matrix already paying off, right? Painkiller goes in, slams like right by Yubi, and then the defense matrix there just eating up any of the bullets, potentially would have finished him off.
And this is the look, by the way, that gave Twisted Minds so much of their mileage earlier on in this stage. Oh, Chronic, the three-piece! Hang about! That one came from the Nethers, folks, out of absolutely nowhere. Look at how locked in he is. What is Quartz cooking? Oh no! Does Chronic think to look in this direction? Does he know? Yes, Infrasight.
Yeah, I was like,
shows him up.
He's got the Infrasight, but why would he look back that way? So they know that Quartz is in that position.
He has a wide enough field of view to have spotted the Cassidy in his periphery. Money Astro living dangerously here. Chronic is working on the fringes of the map, but this honestly is playing well. Twisted Minds feeling like they've got to commit a large number of resources into dealing with this Widow. So the Money Astro show is begun! And the curtain comes down on Chronic's running riot of Widowmaker. Still, there's more work to be done, and this Doomfist composition has really gotten some purchase now for Cyan Esports. They got that checkpoint in hand. They're in this game.
Yeah, and I wonder if you consider, do you consider running the Tracer here if you are Twisted Minds? Let's take a look, though. Chronic.
Past the D.Va Matrix, by the way.
Headshots, yeah, from spawn.
That might be one of the sickest Widow sequences I've seen in quite some time.
Just like that. Hey, that's me.
Headshot there for Quartz, quick TP to get Twisted Minds in position. Chronic still playing on an off angle, and Twisted Minds had to be aware of it. Can they handle this? Widowmaker is starting to take a toll. Deadeye interrupted. Quartz turned into a smear on the masonry. Painkiller lands a nice little charged punch.
Yeah, no defense matrix going to help on through that. So now yet another fight. They're going to leave KSA out of mech. And I think now, you're Twisted Minds. You need an answer here. You need to swap. Is the D.Va the option? Do you go back? Do you play like a Ram here? You can play Orisa, potentially, right? I know Orisa's not the best into the Widow, right? Because obviously no shield, just kind of take the armor off. But obviously extremely effective against a hero like Doom.
Without D.Va, how does Twisted Minds pressure the Widow position at all?
They kind of don't, right? I mean, but outside of those like 3 kills, like have you seen like anything that you're like, okay, we need to focus the Widow?
It is the threat of the Widow though that matters. Drawing players away.
You could threaten it with like a TP, right? Even just being in that position.
In theory. Yeah. We can at least force the grapple away to a worse point of view or a sight line. Painkiller's down though, so there's an opportunity here. KSA realizes that, they've got the mobility to try and chase Chronic down and, sorry, Miss LaCroix. You have been accosted by a number of assailants. That is dirty. Quartz was waiting for the chase there. KSA luring people into his den and letting his wingman deal with them.
And I mean, Rocket chasing, I don't know how you expect to kind of live there. So, Cyan Esports, they get Painkiller here back onto the payload, working with Lucamino here. You're going to have a Kitsune rush like around the corner. You're probably going to wait for Rocket, though, on the venture before you decide to invest that.
This feels like a more awkward part of the map to get Widow involved. Infrasight, though, is active. That means Painkiller has full information about where he needs to go. KSA drops in front of Chronic and a sound barrier now for Twisted Minds. Big punch. 3 players stunned up, and Rocket's able to capitalize, but Simple gets in there with a kunai, and he's got eyes for Painkiller. Power block drawn out, but Chronic in the meantime is going to work. Surgically extracting player after player. It's Yubi and Funny Astro who fall by the wayside. Venture could be an issue. Simple under pressure has to Suzu himself, but KSA's defense matrix keeps him nice and topped up. Eventually he has to fall. Chronic picks him off. But card push, we know, not particularly expert at it. Chronic doesn't have anyone to play the objective for him here.
No, and I mean, you see that if the Widow's not just kind of dominating really on an off angle, right there, Twisted Minds basically ignored it, right? You saw some sick plays from Simple. KSA in support with the defense matrix, keeping him alive as we get below a minute on the clock. It'll be the tectonic shock from Rocket. Takes a lot of damage here early.
But Painkiller's too low to make the space right now.
Yeah.
Gets topped up and now they're back in, but that tech shock is done. Rocket looking for the backline. Sees a TP there for Yubi, and Funny Astro has to be careful! Rocket gives him the root canal he did not ask for. There's a self-destruct and a sim wall in play. KSA's going to be able to remake, but no kills off the blast. Simple's down, and it looks like Sign are going to take a beat, take a moment. Quartz and Simple have been dealt with now, and they can come back in with numbers as KSA is virtually playing solo on the card, bleeding the clock, buying some time. And in that sense, Twisted Minds have done enough, but Sign will get that extension and have enough time to have a crack at finishing the map.
Yeah, and I think, though, for Twisted Minds, right, you just keep throwing your body at it, let it go into OT. And you have a huge advantage in terms of time bank, even if they were able to finish. I think if you're Twisted Minds, though, you want to get aggressive, take an early fight, force Lucamino to use this Kitsune rush. You don't want to let him have it for the end of the game.
Painkiller hindered there as well, so it was hard for him to bounce around that fight properly, but Quartz got too close to the danger zone as far as Venture's concerned. Chronic playing a wild off angle.
Yeah, so they don't really have an angle, yeah.
Gum up the works, stall the card, seems to be the plan for Twisted Minds. Yubi charged up, knocked to the wall. There are so many elements of this Sign comp that are so deadly to Sim, and yet he's sticking to the plan. Simple will fall, Sign are back on the card, making their last grasp at the end of the map.
I mean, right now for Twisted Minds, it's all about the clock, right? Bleed clock, right there. It was like 45 seconds. They were able to get off of it. They're going to end up matching here. Kitsune Rush with Kitsune Rush.
We're down under a minute.
Yeah, you don't have like a Deadeye or something to use inside of it. We've seen Quartz do a really nice job of it, so this will be the Infrasight here.
Painkiller gets out with the orbital strike. He'll be able to return to the rest of his team, and this card has been slowly but inexorably advancing towards the end of the map. Nice charged up Rocket Punch there, stunned up Yubi and Quartz, and the tech shot coming in off the side. Nice little combo. Rocket's still looking for more, and Quartz's direction. Back to the rest of the fight. Funny Astro going to opt to be for 4 players, and Rocket's been taken down, but KSA's been demech. Self-destruct, a chance to get back in the mech, but Simple's been picked up by Chronic. Quartz down, that is dirty stuff. Luke Mino kept him busy while Chronic finds the headshots, but now we're going to be into overtime. Sign need to get this across the line, and Painkiller has gone off the edge of the map. Who's to say? Chronic will wrap around. KSA, no chance to remake, and Funny Astro knows he's done enough. He's gotten this to overtime now, as Chronic will look just to clean the rest of Twisted Minds off the field. But Yubi found Rocket. There'd be an opening here. Time being bought a little bit more by Quartz coming in and getting the pick. That should be a map completion if Simple gets picked off soon enough, and it is. Sign will get an extension, but they're behind by 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, only a minute on the clock as well. Did feel like the Doomfist play was pretty impactful, and same with Chronic on the Widow. Started to heat up there towards the end. Chronic also saves Lucamino. So Lucamino's like in the spawn, basically putting pressure on Twisted Minds. Gets actually hit with the hindrance there of Quartz at the end, but before Quartz can get that shot off, it's a headshot from Chronic that takes him out. Probably keeps Lucamino alive.
And at the 11th hour, we see Sign just pull something that could probably only be done by them. Going to their signature heroes, throwing the Widowmaker out here for the entirety of that attack site, and it works. Now, it doesn't work quickly enough for their liking, I'm sure, but it's enough to keep them in this game, in this series.
It also loses a little bit of the surprise factor here, right? Twisted Minds just basically played against it for like 4 minutes, right? So you have a decent idea about how to go after it, and I mean, this is...
I mean, Luke Mino is a prolific Mercy player. Painkiller also a self-professed ground tank lover.
I mean, this is the ground tank.
I think they're going out of the doors here, Matt. They're not.
There's no way.
Sign Esports are about to step over to the threshold, but they switch back, of course, to the Doom-based comp. Let Bomb the Zen probably just took a peek there, and that's a nasty little angle, Chronic. See that one replicated in your ranked games. He will be on the Widow once more. This time, Yubi's not playing this right side with the Sim TP.
No, and I think if you're Twisted Minds, right, where you see KSA play the corner and you see where the players are through the X-ray, you can kind of just sit there, right, and not give the line of sight here over to Chronic.
Oh, the TP use has been great, but you can see the Rocket Punch's idea is to knock people out in the open, out in the air, to be picked up by Chronic. But where the fight's happening right now, Widow doesn't have a great sight line. Chronic's going to have to move up on the top side of the map, and they've spotted him. They've baited the Widow out into the open. Chronic's able to back away, and now the card's on the move, and it's again disarray for Cyan, and KSA finally gets his way towards that Widow. Now Cyan are trying to group in this building, but they've lost card control. KSA now starting just to pull at them, find an individual, drag them out of position, draw resources out of the Doomfist. The card's not going anywhere right now. We're about to head into overtime, Matt.
And who's going to touch? Okay, so Lep will get there. You have Lep and Lucamino. They will get there to get a touch.
TP, though, gets them there. Overtime has begun. Twisted Minds set themselves, digging their heels, ready to take what was theirs. Lucamino run over. Cyan Esports falter, and the sacred timeline is maintained. Twisted Minds have got to be feeling good about that. All they're going to do is a little bit of hop, skip, and jump through the map. And they'll be through to our playoffs.
They do not have to get far at all here to be able to send themselves to the playoffs. Like above 3 minutes to do it as well would be a legendary hold if you were able to do this for Cyan. I mean, the boos would probably hit another level if Cyan Esports is able to come up with a hold here.
The card is such that you could play on the corner. I don't know if the Widow is something you can afford to go for. Chronic, though, seems to think otherwise. Let's talk about it. On attack, it's one thing, right? They had the surprise factor, you had good long sidelines. Can Chronic realistically set up on defense and be untouchable?
So, no. And I also think with where the cart is, right? Like, you could TP, force them off of this position and create so much space, and there's not really that many great Widow angles, like, as you kind of move down the street, right? So, if you get like a TP across, force them down from high ground, I think it could put the Widow in a really odd spot.
3 minutes and 30 to play. And all Twisted Minds need to do is get halfway through this first phase of Shambali Monastery. Chronic will have the surprise factor to start with. That likely will be scouted out, and he'll be under constant threat of the Diva. Quartz is on the Widow as well. He's opted into the mirror. For now.
Right, so a little bit of a change, so goes to the Sojourn, so a little bit more burst potential, right? Because right now, if you're Twisted Minds, like, all right, we get one pick. We are in a good spot. The bad part for them is the pick happens on the other side.
Chronic playing a pretty tight angle here, just below that high ground position. Quartz is switching over to the Cassidy. It looks like Twisted Minds want to play the death ball and sort of beckon Cyan to overcommit to an engagement with them.
You're farming ult here for Simple, right? You see how much damage KSA is taking, and you're just letting Simple just farm up all this healing.
Was really
trying to turn into a rush.
I like this little flank around the right side, though. Cyan might not be ready for it. Chronic goes low, and eventually he's going to be brought down. That's the Widow out of the mix. Painkiller here with a flashbang. He's done. Quartz happy to take some attention now, because a 3-for-1 exchange is exactly what Twisted Minds are looking for. Cyan will now be desperately scrabbling to try and get in position. Lep knows he might be called on to contest for a short window, but he has to stick this landing perfectly, Matt.
Yeah, got to be so careful. Like, going to get, like, booped from the side. It'll be Painkiller when he gets on.
Lep's going to wrap around the backside here. The cart's getting awful close, and Painkiller's under extreme pressure. He couldn't get away. No chance to escape. Here comes the Suzu. Kitsune Rush committed, and Twisted Minds are on the precipice of advancing. Nothing but net here for Cyan. They cannot get a touch. And Twisted Minds flip the script on their nemesis in the biggest way possible. A stunning victory here in straight maps. Not only knocking Cyan out of the mid-season championship, securing their berth in playoffs.
And this is the Twisted Minds we thought we would see here at this event. We had heard about how well they were playing. We had seen it for ourselves in EMEA in Stage 2. A little bit of a blunder early on in their game against Cyan, losing in that third game, but they make up for it here with a quick 3-0.
They look so drastically different, and they face really the same challenges. from Sign, and the same ban strategy as well. Right, their Sim being targeted at some points, their Cass getting looked at, but whenever Quartz can play that Cassidy, whenever Yubi gets to make that Sim work, Crystal Minds looks sublime, and this was the team that generated a lot of rumors amongst their opponents coming into this tournament. Many said, we expect these guys to be amongst the top players at this tournament.
The second half of EMEA for Stage 2, they were right there with Alcatia. Like, they weren't losing maps to anybody.
It was a 4-2 final in EMEA. Yeah. It was a banger series. One to remember in EMEA for sure. And now they've been able to show us exactly what got them so close. I think it is. Is that Blahaj? I'm not sure. He gets around. Psycho even took a seat there at the table, and KSA Spot briefly just soaked it up. He obviously barking